Well, hey there, it's Jenny, and I'm super excited to chat with Sarita Dua on this session of Agent Success Secrets. Now, Sarita has a lot of success, and I know she is always willing to share all of her secrets. And Sarita, we've known each other for so many years now, and it's been just so fun. We've both matured in life and experiences and our business as well. And so, share with everyone who you are, where you are, and what you do, and then we'll get into it.
Sure. Thanks for having me, Jenny. I really appreciate it. And it has been fun to know you for so long. And that kind of, it's almost funny to be in a professional capacity because I feel like you're one of my dearest friends. So thank you for having me. My name is Sarita Dua. As Jenny mentioned, I'm in Portland, Oregon, and I've been a real estate agent for 21 years here in Portland. I have a small team, four buyer's agents, one listing manager, and a TC, transaction coordinator. And I have a strong referral-based business where work a lot with buyers. We really focus on providing overwhelmingly high level of customer service, and we have strong repeat referral business.
So what I love about you and your story, as like I said, we've matured in life. There are so many agents, and I love them all that just go out and they just want to crush it year after year and grow and grow and grow and then exit the business. Like we hear these examples and stories all the time, where we see people burn out or fade away. But what I love about your story is that you're very, very focused on what matters most to you, family, and travel, and you've built your business and actually on purpose have had your business scale back a bit so you can do what matters to you. So just talk a little bit about that journey for you going through the massive growth and then the making the decision to be purposeful.
Yeah, I was a bit of a control freak, so I was a single agent for so long because, of course, like all of us, we don't think we can find people who are going to do it as good as we do, right? It's so hard at the beginning to let go. And then you have a shift when you realize it's not about you, it's about your clients. And so as you bring people on to help you, if they can provide a higher level of service to your clients, that's how I sort of evolved from a hardworking, maybe overworked single agent doing about a deal a week, 50 deals a year,
Yeah.
to having a team. And then hitting sort of the apex of my career was 2017, where I did close to 80 million, 78 million in production, 2.1 million in GCI, 144 sides, of which 90 were buyers and 54 were sellers. And I've now, like, every year up until that year, it was like, how do I, my goal was always higher than the year before. Well, now my goal is always, like, when you hit a certain number, like at some point, money is like there's enough of it. Like,
Yeah.
and if you want more, you're going to pay somehow with time or something else. So for me, the gamification started happening of how can I do roughly the same amount of business and take more and more time off. And even when I worked with my own one-on-one coach, that would be my, instead of saying, how do I, I sold 200 houses, how do I sell 250 next year? It
Mhm.
would be, how do I sell the same amount, but maybe take a week or two more off?
Yeah.
And it became it's sort of, again, gamification, but you learn how to get really efficient on the days you're not away. Now, again, travel, it could be travel, but it could also just be you're doing something else, or you're tacking on a weekend to a conference, or you're doing a girls' weekend at a cabin. Like it didn't have to be like jet setting the world. It was just the ability to, like, I want to be that mom that goes to college drop-offs or goes to the lacrosse tournament or whatever it was. So I gave myself, well, again, it probably forced me, but I had a couple of big things happen in my life where I took on a really big high-end project,
Mhm.
and that was almost a full-time project. It was a full-time job in and of itself, plus I had my team. So there's no way I could maintain the production I had and do a full-on luxury development as well. So you end up spreading yourself a little thin. I also went back to school and got an MBA.
Yeah.
I've been on a health transformation where I've lost 100 pounds and kept it off. And that takes time and energy and effort too. So I just started looking at what are the most important things in my life, and not to get completely negative or morbid, but I've had some people in my life that have passed away, like five or six in a 6-month period. And it was the universe telling me like
Mhm.
later is really an arrogant concept of, oh, I'll do all of this now and then later we'll travel, or when we retire, we'll play pickleball, or when I have time, I'll go do stuff with my kids. Well, most people who have older kids know that there's certain windows where you want to be with your kids, they don't want to be with you. And so you have to like take those moments when you get them. If they want to travel with you, you make it happen as opposed to let me do it later. My business is really important right now. So that's a little bit about kind of how I've sort of made it okay to say my business is one pillar of my life. It's not the be all end all. And I get great satisfaction from the other pieces as well.
I find, and I'm sure you do as well, that sometimes that's really hard, especially working moms, when we really desire to be a super awesome, amazing mom, but also, and a partner, of course, and then also a really great real estate professional. And so there is that struggle, and we know that that balance isn't real. And I just am so proud of you and honor you for making the decision. So you are a model now when you share the word that it can be done. You're still financially, achieving the goals that you want. You're empowering your agents on your team. So let's talk a little bit about the team piece because you're known for your showing agent model, and it's pretty dang cool how you allow great agents in your world to make great money, do what they love, while you still stay intimate in the relationship of the process with the client.
Yeah, no, it's great. I do love my showing agent model. It started in 2012. In fact, most of the things in my life have been just very happy accidents. I remember I got some leads. I was on a wait list for some internet leads back then. And when I got them, I didn't have the team. So I was quickly like, oh my gosh, when you get internet leads, you have to answer them. And so you
Yeah.
can't just be a single agent, you got to have a team. So part of the showing agent model was just by design. I needed to kind of slam some people onto my team without really having the time to vet them out. So I thought this would be a great on the job audition. They'll start as showing agents, and over time, I think the cream will rise to the top, and then whoever sort of steps into that. I also was from tech. I was at Intel and a bunch of startups. We used to believe that if you were a director and you wanted to be a VP, you were essentially the VP for a long time, and then you finally got the title. So it's kind of like I'll see sort of how people do and who sort of steps up, and then that will be the natural progression. So that's how that started. Well, it never actually happened because the showing model works so well for us. I started with two, I now have four. And the showing agents do more than just show homes or open doors. They do the entire first half of the buy cycle. Their job starts with first contact, goes all the way through nurturing, cultivating the relationship, nurturing it, doing the buyer strategy session, the consult. We call it a strategy session, making sure we get them signed as exclusive buyers, as being their exclusive buyer's agent with our buyer representation agreement, and then they show property. Their job ends when they find the property, and I am the lead negotiator. Selfishly, it's the one thing that I love the most, and I think
Right.
I'm best at. I'm a strong negotiator. And part of it is 21 years experience. I was negotiating before real estate in my tech world in sales and account management for tech for 14 years, including contracts, quarterly business reviews, et cetera. The other thing is when you're a Sarita in your market and you've been doing this for a couple decades, I joke, I mention my name Sarita because I joke like it's like Madonna or Cher. It's a unique name. I'm full time. Most agents know who I am. I want to leverage those agent relationships,
Yeah.
right? I
Yeah.
can literally call an agent and say, Susie, it's multiple offers. Tell me where I need to be. Now, I'm always going to ask. Sometimes
Right.
she'll tell me, sometimes she'll not. But I'll be honest, more than often, I will get the offer. We will win when we're not the highest.
Yeah.
And we will be given the opportunity to match or beat what
Right.
they have. And then it's my buyer's decision, right? Why do they do that? It's not because they like me. It's because sellers want two things. They want the highest and best terms, but they want the lowest risk, right? The highest probability to close. And if working with an agent and the agent's working with an agent that they know and has a good professional track record, can't wake up today and have a good reputation. You have to have it from the beginning. So that's how it started and how it's been going. And it's been a great model where my buyer's agents essentially don't write offers and they don't negotiate offers. Their job stops when that we find the house and then I take over. I stay in my strength zone, they stay in theirs. They've become almost inventory specialists where they know the market really well. They already know that the yellow house might work for the Millers. It didn't work for the Thomas because it was too small, but the Millers wanted something that size, right? So like they are really good at knowing the inventory. And then we also provide better two things. We have availability all the time. Like there's always going to be someone available to show them the house. And we also have a really high repeat referral business because I did everything contract to close, including the offer. They're more likely to call me when they sell because
Mhm.
they remember me and it wasn't just my name on a door and then they never saw me and didn't interact with me. I'm very familiar with all of our clients. It's not scalable. We don't do 1,000 deals a year. Our best year ever was 144. We usually gravitate to like that 80 to 100 type of number every year, but that's a great number because you know all your clients.
So what I heard inside of that was, I'm imagining you must have amazing communication with your agents. So they've done all the work, they know the clients intimately and what they're looking for and the property, and they pass the baton. Sarita, it's time, you're up, start running, you get to take over
Yeah.
now. What does that pass and handoff sound like?
So we use Slack as our team communication model, and we have a channel for offer handoff, and we have questions that we ask. I'll be honest, if we're doing it right, it's not if you're thinking of the Olympics and the baton pass and a relay, it's not just one pass at the end. It's me running side by side with them, maybe the last lap, which means we're even more seamless with the baton pass.
Mm.
And what I'd say for that analogy, let's say we're running into a hiccup where there's some frustration because they say they want this, we're showing them this, it's not working. We'll play good cop, bad cop. I will jump on the phone with them. We will account strategize on how together we can understand where our buyer's at. We're never trying to sell our buyer. We're just trying to understand them. And hey, if they were looking for a farm on 5 acres and now they started looking at townhouses, we got to ask the question, did something change? Like, did your criteria change or do you just want to see the sofa and the paint colors in this townhouse because your friend wants to see it? Like, I'm just trying to understand what changed, right? So to be able to almost reconsult them by having great communication. It shouldn't just be like one path, but you are correct in that many times I haven't talked to them at length, or I may not have seen the house. And so I'm going to go preview the house, or maybe I've seen the house before. I know the floor plan, or I know the neighborhood. One of the reasons this model works for me is for 8 to 10 years, I was a single agent looking at almost every property in Portland. I mean, I knew a lot. We're not a huge market geographically, so I
Yeah.
knew the neighborhoods, I knew the floor plans. And so I didn't wake up and say, well, someday I want a showing agent model, so let me do this to get there. I just looked back and realized I had a really strong foundation for buyer business because I did it for so long that I was able to get the leverage so that we could offer a better experience. And that equaled showing partners, transaction management, just the right pieces so that we can help more buyers and always be available, especially as we turned into a seller's market for many years where
Yeah,
time was up.
and you even mentioned that that is important to have seller listings,
Mhm.
as well as buyer relationships as well. I mean, how are you focusing on kind of transitioning to be more listing based?
I'm just trying to, so it's 100% personal, right? I'm nothing against a buyer business. It's always going to likely exceed my seller business because if I think of the number of lanes in my highway, I have four buyers agents, so I have four freeway lanes for the buyers, and for listings, it's me and a full-time listing manager. So we don't have enough lanes, right, to match, right? We're never going to probably do the same amount, but as I'm getting older or more mature, I'm realizing that our vision is becoming clearer for my husband and I, where he'll probably retire and I'm going to work till the day I die, but I would love to be able to work from wherever I am.
Right.
Listings allow me to do that a little bit more in terms of geographic flexibility. Whereas if you are showing and you don't have enough showing agents, you're still probably tied to Portland a little bit more in terms of being in market. So I'm looking at where do I want to be? Keller actually had a great story in one of his last masterminds for his top agent group. He talked about how he wanted to play golf with his son. And he said, I want to play golf with my son, but I don't want to like wait till I'm more available to play golf. I'm going to start playing golf now and start getting good at it. Because why does he want to play golf with his son? Because that's the way that he'll spend time with him. Right. And so it's like if you want to do something and you know you want to do it, what pieces do you have to do today to get there? So I think I'm not looking to be a 70%. I'm not looking to go from 70% buyers to 70% sellers. I'm just looking to see if I can get from a little bit stronger buyer business to a little bit more balance so that I can have even more locational flexibility.
And why I think your message and your model is important is because, like I said, not everyone out there wants to just have these huge, ginormous teams. We see others that do it, and that's awesome. But some of us just choose to be small and mighty, to be hyper focused, to be in our community and connectors. And so, thanks for being the voice and the person that allows us to see it's doable while making the financial, obligations that we need to achieve while still living our best life. So I love your story about being such a community connector. You are Ask Sarita. It's the best branding I've ever seen in my life because that just tells us whether I'm a real estate agent, I have a question, I'm going to ask Sarita. Whether I'm a local business person or a local person who needs some real estate help, I'm going to ask Sarita. It's brilliant, by the way.
Thank you.
With Ask Sarita, how have you used that to build your vendor partner program where you are the go-to and you have your go-to people?
Well, it started from the beginning when I was brand new. I sent out a mailer to everyone I knew and I said, of course, I'd love to help you buy or sell real estate or invest in real estate. But maybe you don't want to buy a house and you just need a roofer or you need a painter or you're thinking about redoing your deck. Give me a call. I'm here to help. And so I'm your Portland home resource. Ask Sarita. And in fact, my tagline was real estate questions, big or small, asksarita.com. Like I literally built it that way. And then I became pretty good about being in networking groups like BNI for 7 years, where I learned and met other service providers. And over time, always up leveling, right? Like, let's be real, you might have the best hardwood guy or gal or whoever, and then you realize they don't maybe want to grow their business.
Yeah,
Maybe their service
right.
level's starting to fall off. Well, guess what? We bend the corner on that business card and we get another one who might be hungry or have better service. We didn't necessarily even look for it. It's like we found a better person. Now this is our go-to person, right? Because people have seasons. And so what I did is I trained all my clients that like, look, I'm not going to make a list available because one, the list is always changing. And
Yeah.
two, I want to match it to what your needs are. If you're in a certain location, maybe my service provider doesn't go there, or maybe you're at a certain price point or certain quality that is not for example, Corolla, Camry, Lexus, all the same brand, but different, all the same car company, but
Right.
different features, different values for their each segment, right? So I train them like, hey, before or after the transaction, I'm not going anywhere. Ask me. And then I make sure I plug into my vendors because yes, I can send them a text saying I gave the number, but I actually go a little extra. I actually send them a postcard anytime I give their name out. And my goal and my vision is that they have a stack of postcards on their desk because I send them so much business. I'll be candid, they're never going to send me the amount of business that I send them. So the person who's a little bit ticked off because, wow, I gave, my painter 20 jobs and I can't remember the one referral I got from him in 2 years. Well, let's be real, paint jobs cost a little less than house sales, right? It doesn't matter to me if he's part of my team, he's providing great service. I'm going to make sure I'm giving his name out. He's also helping me during prep for listings, during repair negotiations, when I need a quote, he's fine even letting me use a quote for credit, knowing that he may not get the job. But overall, it averages very well for him, where by being on my A team, I would say, in terms of trusted service providers, he will get not only more business, but he provides just great service to me, and I'm always looking out for them.
All I'm hearing over and over again, all I'm hearing over and over again is relationships, either with your co-op agents, that's how you win the deal for your client, with your vendor partners, with your clients out in the community. What if someone just doesn't really like people? They just really like I'm kidding, of course, but are you naturally, a social butterfly? Because I think people trick themselves into thinking like, well, I don't naturally, you know, talk to people or
No,
whatever.
it's a great question. And I'll be really candid. I think I was more of an extrovert earlier on, and I've become a little more grumpy in my old age. I want to work hard, and then I want to be with my family and my loved ones in sweatpants, honestly. So what do? You surround yourself with the people that are the social butterflies, the people that might have been you a few years ago. I have someone in my life on my team. She's been with me for 9 years. That's one thing about my team also. 11 years, 9 years, 6 years, five. Like one of the reasons we haven't grown is we are a family that's been together for a long time.
Yeah.
And I know we need to grow a little bit, but it's hard when you've got this family that's just been there forever. She is the nicest person. The gal on my team is the nicest person in the world. And so she's the softer side of Sears. There used to be a campaign, and sometimes I can be the blunt, like I'll write an email like, what's going on? And I have to remember to say, good morning, how's everything? What's
Yeah.
going on? And then I have to go back and I hope everything's going good. Like I'm a little bit direct. And she is like the nicest person in the world, always caring for our people. Make sure you find those people that compliment you because she loves it. And I don't love it. And together they get a little, also I'm good because she can bring me in for the tough messages that might be a little bit more challenging for her because she's the one who wants to make sure they're always happy. And
Yeah.
so together we very much complement each other. You need both skill sets. So I'm not saying I'm a horrible, mean person. I'm saying over time, I have
Yeah.
realized that it's a little bit more unnatural for me. And so therefore I surround myself who naturally gravitate to people. And that's a win for us. We're going to the zoo this weekend for a client event.
I saw
I'm
that.
sort of dreading it, but I know my people are going to love it. And as long as we're there smiling, it's going to all be great. But I'd much rather, like I want to see people, but I don't know. Like I just want to make sure that I've got people there that like will love on our people. And together as a team, we've got it covered.
I'm very similar, and your story is exactly me as well. And I have to remember that when I am there, I actually do love the energy. It's just the getting myself to get there, right?
Exactly. I mean, I don't think we would be in this job if we didn't love people.
Yeah.
It's just how much do you have to psych yourself out? And I do think, again, it's seasonal over time and where you're at in your life.
Yeah.
But to be aware of your blind spots and make sure you compliment them.
I love that. I love that. Good point. If you had to start all over, Sarita, you're 21 in the business. I'm 23 years in the business together. Wow, look at all this experience.
All these years.
And so, what would you tell your younger self or someone out there that's just getting up and going and they're, maybe a mom or, struggling to find their path and their purpose inside of this business? What would you do differently?
I think I got really lucky because what somebody told me this when I started, and I think it did help me. Right when I walked into the office, one of the agents in my office sort of punched me in the shoulder, kind of gave me a high five and said, "Listen, make sure you don't forget that this is a people business. Have fun, and there's very little you can mess up that you can't fix with an addendum. So like, just trust yourself and have fun." And that was actually really good advice. So for me, do the work, have fun. Don't be afraid. Like, just like the learning comes from doing, really. And so I think sometimes we psych ourselves out because we want to be perfect. And we're like that plane that just needs to take off, but we'll never get it in the air because it just has to be perfect. And the reality is, you might be building the plane while you're in the sky. It's okay. Like that, we're just going to figure it out together. So trust yourself, have fun, and surround yourself with others that are advisors to you that you can ask questions to, and make sure you reciprocate. Right? It's the best relationships are give and take. You can't just take. But my advice is also make sure that you do the work, and it's very easy to fill a whole day with Facebook and webinars and trainings and you know continuing education and all this stuff. And there's a lunch here and there's a broker tour there. And next thing you know, you didn't actually do anything that was like moving the needle towards an offer or a listing or a negotiation, right? Like that's what we do. So make sure that you're doing work that puts you, you're either building relationships with partners or with lenders, you're previewing properties, you're holding open houses, you're getting in front of people because it's a numbers game.
Well, Gary's t-shirt at Mega Camp said, do the work.
Do
That
the
was
work.
it. Just do
Yeah.
the work. So one more question for you. What would you say to your younger self about what to not worry about, what to not sweat, what not to focus on?
That's a good question. I think we spend a lot of time in this industry comparing ourselves to others. There's all the leaderboards, there's all the production. If we saw everyone's life on Facebook, we might as well just be in a full-on depression all the time because nobody's sharing the fights with their spouse or when they burnt their dinner or when their kid yelled at them or whatever, right? Or when their client fired them. They're sharing the highlight reels. And so I think social media has been dangerous that way because it's just this false narrative that isn't even achievable. I would say don't pay too much attention to what others are doing. You do you. Your goals, my goals are very different than some of the top teams. I have a very clear vision for what our personal future looks like and what are some of the steps I need to get there. And it may be non-traditional or even unorthodox, but it doesn't matter. So I think at the beginning we get a little caught up in comparisons and trophies and awards and levels when really like instead of touting how many homes we've sold, we should be talking about and thinking about and journaling about the people in our lives and how we help them and what we learn from that. And it's really about our clients. It's not about us. So
Right.
don't get too caught up in the sort of the ego side of the business because it's it's sort of unattainable. It's like it's always a moving target. So be clear to what your goals are and be satisfied every night that knowing that you did the best you could.
It's always so great chatting with you because you're always just so wise and clear in your focus. And that's just refreshing because it's important. It's a very important message for other women, other people, other agents, other humans to hear. So thank you. How can people best find you and follow up and reach out?
So my handle on everything is Ask Sarita, as you mentioned. It's on Instagram. The full name is Sarita Dua and Facebook. Find me, friend me, message me, text me. I'm always available. I'm one of those weirdos that my cell phone's everywhere on my signs and everything else. So I'm always available for direct conversation.
Well, you're a joy and I appreciate you so much. Thank you for sharing.
Thanks so much for having me. It's been an honor.